Is planning a trip to Disney actually easier now than in the past because of Genie Plus and theme park reservations? Not everyone will agree with me here, but I think it's easier to plan a Disney trip now that we have theme park reservations and Genie Plus. I know some people will say no way and long for the days of spontaneous park hopping and fast passes, but stick with me and I'll explain my thoughts. Let's travel back in time when FastPass ruled and you could spontaneously choose your park that very morning. While that was nice in a lot of ways and some people really enjoyed it, how many people really plan their Disney trip with that kind of flexibility in mind? I'd say most people come to Disney with a pretty laid out plan for each day. They may be spontaneous while at the park, but certain things are planned out well in advance, locking us into certain parks and restaurant reservations each day of our visit. But in the past, I think Disney locked us into our plans even more and more in advance. For instance, just a few short years ago, you had to make Disney restaurant reservations 6 months in advance. 6 months! That's some serious advanced planning. Sometimes the theme park calendar wasn't even updated with hours and events yet at that point, so you had to use your best detective skills to figure out what the park hours and event schedule would most likely be based on prior weeks or even the prior year to decide what park you would like to visit each day of your vacation. And once you made those restaurant reservations 6 months in advance, your park days were pretty much locked in, especially if you were lucky enough to secure a hard-to-get reservation like Cinderella's Castle. Today, Disney resort guests get to make their dining reservations for the full length of their trip 60 days in advance instead of 6 months, which is a lot more reasonable. At 60 days, most likely the park calendar will be updated with current park hours and events so that you can choose the best park for your needs without having to resort to detective work and research. Disney also made it easier to cancel dining reservations and now gives a 2-hour window to cancel at most Disney restaurants instead of the old 24-hour rule. So it's much easier to change your restaurant reservations now if you find a better one. And in most cases, you can also change parks if there are theme park reservations available for the park that you want to switch to. In the past, another way Disney locked you into choosing your park in advance was with FastPass. Back then, Disney resort guests could make up to 3 FastPass reservations 60 days in advance at each park they planned to visit. And non-Disney resort guests could make their FastPass reservations 30 days in advance. After all the work of getting up at the crack of dawn and working hard to get those best FastPasses possible, why would anyone give that up in order to switch parks? Genie Plus seems to be more fair for Disney resort guests and guests staying off property alike because everyone can make their first Genie Plus reservation at 7 a.m. on the day they are visiting a park, if they purchase that service. I find it easier to get the high-demand rides with Genie Plus rather than FastPass because with FastPass, some people had long trips and had already booked their FastPasses for the entire trip, which might have included or overlapped with your park days too. So the good rides might have been booked up already. Today, everyone has the same fair shot at those hard-to-get rides first thing that very morning. After all that planning, most people would not give up all those dining reservations and FastPass reservations just to be spontaneous and switch parks the day of. And with all the different ways you can get the most popular rides now, like through Genie Plus, purchasing individual lightning lanes, and virtual queues, things seem to be more doable, at least to me. On our last few trips, we have been able to do everything we wanted to. It took a lot of planning and watching YouTube videos and having my head in my phone while at the park. And I guess you have to be willing to pay for Genie Plus or individual lightning lanes in order to do it all. But back in the day with FastPass, you were lucky to lock in even one popular ride. I personally think having more ways, more options to get on rides makes planning a trip easier. And the good news is, theme park reservations can be modified. You are not locked into a certain park until you enter that park. You can change your theme park reservations at any point as long as that park is available. The morning of your park day, you can use Genie Plus to pick from a variety of rides at any parks as long as you grab that theme park reservation. No FastPass locking you into a park for the day. As long as there are theme park reservations, you can pick any park. This is not true for the very busy times of year, like specific weeks, Christmas or spring break, but there are glorious times to visit Disney when it is less crowded, like the end of August, most of September, and the end of May, beginning of June, for example. So there's a lot of talk from Disney about theme park reservations making it easier for them to know how many guests will be visiting each park on a given day, and how that helps them plan for staff and inventory. I think this is kind of nonsense. In the past, with all the advanced dining reservations and fastpass reservations, they pretty much knew who was going to which park each day and even further in advance. I don't think there is a way to know exactly why Disney insists on theme park reservations, but it's actually not that big a deal unless the park you want is already booked up. With all that said, I'm okay with Genie Plus and theme park reservations, even though I did love fastpass. But there are some things that Disney has changed that I don't like canceling Magical Express. It was fun to get straight into the Disney magic at the airport. Everyone in line for the buses was excited and smiling. Kids especially liked Magical Express, and many people missed that perk. Disney also used to let resort guests into the parks a full hour before it opened, which was a great advantage. I'm also not a huge fan of the online resort check-in feature. It's so impersonal. I like going to the lobby and checking in person, and we usually do that and skip the online check-in process. It's just more fun in my opinion. It's also too bad that they don't give resort guests free magic bands anymore. We loved getting them in the mail before our trip. It was just another part of the magic. I am happy, though, that they have decided to stop charging resort guests for parking at Disney resorts. That's a step in the right direction. So are you with me? Do you think it's easier or even a little less stressful to plan a Disney trip now? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments. And please come back for more videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.